Belgians are great lovers of food and of beer. In fact, there are more than 600 varieties of Belgian beer, so they're taken very seriously indeed, much as other countries regard their wines. And it's not just the drinking, it's also used as an ingredient in much of Belgian cuisine, such as the Belgian-inspired recipe for pork with dark ale. First, in a large frying pan, I brown potatoes in a little butter, making sure that the temperature is not too high or the butter will burn. You would also use oil for this, or a mixture of butter and oil, but traditionally butter would have been used. This will take about 5 minutes, after which time I add caraway seed, also much used in Belgian cuisine. And it's used in making rye breads and in cheeses such as Munster. Now to bacon, about 100 grams of smoked bacon to give the dish a lovely smokiness. This mixture is then put in a baking dish and baked in the oven at about 190 degrees C for around 20 minutes or so. Now to the pork. Fillet is used and a large piece is cut into thickish chunks about 3 to 4 centimeters wide. Of course, when I do any job like this, I make sure that my hands are spotlessly clean before I start and then well washed again after I've finished. They're then smeared with a Dijon-style mustard, or maybe a Belgian-style mustard, before being fried in a little oil, preferably in a non-stick pan. And even if it is a non-stick pan, I still use a little oil to assist the browning. Pork these days can be regarded very much like beef, and it can be served still pink. Not quite as rare as you'd serve beef, but still not fully cooked. It then retains its beautiful moisture. Once browned, they're removed and put in the oven for around 10 minutes or so. They shouldn't overcook, and they should be taken out a few minutes before serving to rest. Now, in the same pan goes beer, about 250 to 300 mils of a good ale, a good flavourful beer. A dark ale would be perfect. The alcohol, of course, is cooked out, but the full flavour remains. Now I put in a little sugar, just a teaspoon or so, to cut the beer's bitterness. And this is now reduced by about a third. Then I put in a little cream, a tablespoon or so of freshly cut parsley, and a little more mustard. Bliss. Now the perfect accompaniment for this dish is Belgian witloof, otherwise known as Belgian endive, which is not to be confused with curly endive. Now the first thing I do with these is to take out the small plug at the base, which can make the vegetable quite bitter, and I soak them in orange juice. This takes out bitterness and at the same time gives a wonderful flavour to the final dish. Then they're steamed in some of that orange juice with a little butter and black pepper. Now, it might interest you to know that the witloof is quite a new vegetable. It was discovered quite by chance in the 19th century by a Belgian botanist who saw these sprouts growing from roots in his cellar. And he thought, why don't I eat them? And he did, and he lived to tell the tale. And that's why we're still eating them today. Time to serve, and the pork medallions are placed alongside the caraway potatoes. The witloof is drained and added, and the mustard sauce is served over the top. Fabulous. Degree of difficulty, low, I think you'll agree. Keepability, best eaten immediately. And preparation time, well, around 35 minutes, including the cooking. So that's not bad at all, is it? So there it is, a Consuming Passions collection with very much a Belgian flavour. Pork medallions with caraway potato and witloof steamed with orange juice. Because it's quite a rich dish, I recommend serving it with just a plain salad, possibly some curly endive. A wine accompaniment? Not necessarily. I'd recommend having it with some of the beer used in the sauce. Belgian? Australian, of course. From Consuming Passions, till next time, bon appetit.